We are coming to you live via Facebook streaming, via YouTube streaming, and also via Skype online. Each one of you is welcomed to this live streaming. I have spoken on the four techniques that use breathing, different breath movements, but then the question comes in, how is it possible that by becoming aware of a particular point in breath process or breath movement, one can attain to enlightenment? How is it possible to become free from unconscious by just being aware of such a small momentary gap in breathing? The question is significant. It arises like any other question out of the mind. You have to understand there are certain processes. First, it is thought that spirituality is very difficult attainment. Remember, it is neither attainment nor it is neither attainment in the first place, and when it is not attainment, it is not difficult to attain. Whatsoever you are already spiritual. Nothing new is to be added to your being, nothing new is to be discarded. You are a man, you are born as a man, but you do not act at times as a man. You do not live up to your expectations. That may be the problem. But as far as your being a man is concerned, there is no doubt about it. It is not that you have to do something arduous to be yourself. It is not a journey to some other point somewhere else. You are not going elsewhere. You are already there. That which is to be attained is already attained. This idea must go deep into you. Shankar says the mind has four aspects. The mind, intellect, storehouse of the memory, and ego sense. What is this storehouse of the memory? It is your subconscious, the deepest layer of your being. A particular circumstance and situation comes in, that particular circumstance and situation immediately throws you back into your subconscious layer, and you get your instructions to act from there. This idea has to go deep into you, that you are already spiritual. You are not what you have put on, what persona you have, what clothes you are having. If spirituality is something to be attained, then of course it would be difficult. But really, not only difficult but impossible. If you are not already spiritual, you can never be. If you are not a man, biologically, then nothing can be done. Psychologically, you may have fallen from that can be corrected. How can one who is not spiritual be spiritual? If you are not divine already, then there exists no possibility, no way. And no matter what effort will be made, will not going to help you. If you are not divine, your effort cannot create divinity in you, then it becomes impossible. But the whole situation is totally different. You are already that which you want to attain. The end of longing is already there, present in you. Here and now, this very moment, you are that which is known as divine. The ultimate is here, you are the case. That is why simple techniques can help. It is not an attainment but a discovery. It is a discovery. It is hidden. It is hidden in very, very small things. All that is precious in life is attained through small things. You have persona, which is like your clothes. Your body is here, but it is hidden in clothes. The same thing is your spirituality is here, but hidden in certain different kind of clothes. These clothes are your personality. You can be naked just here and now. In the same way, you can be spiritually naked as well. But you do not know what clothes do you have. You do not know how you are hidden from them. You do not know how to be unclothed. You have been having these clothes for so long. For lives and lives, you have these clothes on, like your anger, your jealousy, your hatred, your memories, your unfulfilled desires, emotional disturbances. These are all different kind of clothes that you have on. You have considered that this is your life and you cannot live without these. You have been in clothes for so long, for lives and lives. This is what your subconscious is composed of, the storehouse of the memory. And you have been so identified with these things that you do not think that these are clothes. You think these clothes are you, and that is why there is a barrier. For example, you have some treasures but you have forgotten about them, and or you have not recognized that this is a treasure, and you go on begging on the streets. You are a beggar. And someone says, go and look inside your house. You need not be a beggar. You can be emperor this very moment. The beggar is bound to say, what nonsense are you talking about? How can I be emperor this very moment? I have been begging for years and years, and still I am a beggar. And even if I go on begging for lives, I will not be an emperor. So how absurd and illogical your statement is, you can be emperor this very moment. Because what he is seeing in you is totally different. It is impossible. Beggar cannot believe it. Why? Because begging mind, you have a begging mind. This is your persona. This has become your habit. But if the treasure is just hidden in the house, then just using a simple technique of digging and removing the earth a little, the treasure can be found. And immediately there will be no more beggar action. He will become an emperor. You have to dig the begging mind, you have to dig the desiring mind, the jealous mind, the angry mind, and you will find that you are already there, that you are seeking. It is the same with spirituality. It is a hidden treasure. Nothing can be achieved somewhere in the future. You have not yet recognized it, but it is there already in you. You are the treasure house, but you go on begging and begging. So what was, you did not know that you had the precious stones and treasure in your house. You could not believe. Somehow or the other, somebody convinced you to believe. You went and you took a spade and just dig a hole and found a treasure. Was it not a simple technique? That is why simple techniques can help. Digging the earth, removing a little bit of soil is not a big effort, and you can become an emperor immediately this very moment. You have to dig a little bit to remove the earth, and when I say remove the earth, it is not symbolically that I am saying to remove the earth. Literally, your body is the part of the earth, and you have become identified with the body. Your anger arises in the body, your hatred, jealousy, all these things arise in the body. Remove the earth a little bit, create a hole in it, and you will come to know the treasure. You have to start digging deep within you. That is why the question will occur to many of the people. Really, to everyone, this question will occur once, even once. So a small technique like this, being aware of your breathing or breath movement or breath technique, being aware of the incoming and the outgoing breath, and then realizing the interval between the two, is this enough? Such a simple thing, is this enough for enlightenment? Is this the only difference between you and Buddha? That you have realized, you have not yet realized the gap between the two breaths, and Buddha have realized this. Only this much is the difference between you and a Buddha. It seems illogical, but the distance between Buddha, and you think that the distance between Buddha and you is vast. The distance seems to be infinite. The distance between beggar and emperor is infinite. But the beggar can immediately become an emperor if the treasure is already hidden. And for that matter, treasure is already hidden in each one of you. Buddha was a beggar like you once. He was not a Buddha born. At a particular point, The beggar vanished, dissolved, died, and he became the master. But you do not want the beggar in you to die. So this is not a gradual process. It is not that Buddha goes on accumulating and then one day he is no more a beggar and becomes an emperor. No. A beggar can never become an emperor if he is going through the process of accumulation. You see the rich people, they are all beggars. Some are begging outside the temples and some are begging inside the temples. The rich are begging inside, the poor are begging outside. He may become a rich beggar, but he will still remain a beggar, and a rich beggar is a bigger beggar than the poor beggar. The demand for a rich beggar are much more than the ordinary beggar. Suddenly one day Buddha realized his inner treasures. Then he was no more a beggar. He became the master. The distance between Gautam Siddhartha and Gautam Buddha is infinite. It is the same distance that exists between you and a Buddha, but the treasure is hidden within you as much as it was hidden within Gautam Siddhartha. Take another example. A man is born with blind eyes, the deceased ones. For a blind man, the world is a different thing. A small operation can change the entire life because only the eyes have to be made all right and everything else is okay. The moment eyes are ready, the seer is hidden behind and he will start looking through the eyes. The seer is already there. Only windows are lacking. You are in a house with no windows and you can break a hole in the wall this very moment and suddenly you can look outside. We are already that which we are, which we should be, which we are to be. The future is already hidden in the present. The whole possibility is here in the seed. Only a window has to be broken. If the seed does not break the window, break its outer shell, it can never attain to what it is meant for. Only a small surgical operation is needed. If you can understand this, that spirituality is already here, already the case, there will be no problem concerning how such a small effort can help. How a small effort of the seed opening its outer skin. But this is what it is happening. The seed goes in the womb of the earth with the moisture or whatsoever it is. It bursts open its outer seed, and with the outer seed, with the outer skin broken, the sprout starts coming to the surface. No big effort is needed. This is not a big effort. Only a small effort is needed, and smaller the effort is, better it is. And if you work effortlessly, it is still better. That is why it happens many times. It happens that the more you try, the harder it becomes to attain. Your very effort Your tension, your occupiedness, your longing, your expectation becomes the barrier. But with a small effort, an effortless effort, that is what they call in Zen. It happens very easily. The more you are mad, the less will be the possibility, because where a needle is needed, you are using a sword. The sword will not be helpful. It may be bigger, but where a needle is needed, a sword is not needed. Go to a butcher, he has very big instruments. You go to a brain surgeon, you will find such a fine, no big instruments, such fine precision instruments. And if you do find them, then escape immediately. A brain surgeon is not a butcher. He needs a small instrument. A smaller the instrument, better it is. Spiritual techniques are very subtle, they are not gross. Spiritual techniques are very subtle, they are not gross, and certainly they cannot be, just as brain surgery is a very subtle process. It's the instruments, the equipment that are used, they are very precise, precision instruments. They cannot be, because the can surgery is even more subtle. In the brain, the surgeon is still doing something with the gross matter. But when you are working on spiritual planes, the surgery becomes more and more aesthetic. No gross matter is there. It becomes subtle. That is one thing you have to understand. There is another aspect. The question asks, if something is smaller, how can big things be possible through it? How can big thing be possible through it? This is a concept which is irrational and unscientific. Now science knows the smaller the particle, the more atomic, the more logical, the bigger, the more explosive, the bigger. Could you have imagined before 1945 that no poet, no philosopher would have dreamt that two small atom bombs dropped on the two cities of Nagasaki and Hiroshima destroyed everything? You do not know the power of atom. The word atom comes from the Hindi word Atma. You do not know the power of Atma. These techniques are not small but atomic. Those who are doing bigger things do not know the atomic science. The science, your soul also has a science, is guided. You think the person who is working with atoms is a small person working with small things? and the one who is working on the Himalayan mountains, which is big. Hitler was working with great masses. Mao was working with great masses. Albert Einstein, Mark Planck, they were working in their laboratories with the small units of matter, energy particles. They were working only with particles. Ultimately, before Einstein's research, politicians were just important. They were working on a bigger canvas, but they did not know the secret of these smaller units. Moralists work on bigger planes, but these bigger planes are gross. Things looks very big. They devote their whole lives on morality. Tantra is not concerned with this. Tantra is not concerned with this. Tantra is concerned with the atomic secret in human beings, in human mind, in human consciousness, and it is achieved through atomic secrets. These methods are atomic methods. If you can attain them, the result will be explosive, cosmic. There is another point needed to be noted. If you can say, how is that such a small, simple exercise, one can become enlightened? You are saying this without doing the exercise. If you do it, then you will not say that this is such a simple exercise. It looks this way because within 2 or 3 sentences the whole exercise has been given. Do you know the atomic formula? It is contained into 2 or 3 words. And with those 2 or 3 words, those who understand those words can destroy the whole earth. The formula is always small. These are the 2 formulas. So if you look at the formula, it will look very small, very simple. Try to do it. When you do it, then you will know that it is not so easy. It looks simple, but it is one of the deepest thing. We will analyze the process, then you will understand. When you take a breath in, you never feel the breath. You have never felt the breath. You will immediately deny this. You will say it is not right. We may be conscious continuously, but we feel the breath, but you do not feel the breath. Do you feel the breath? You may not be conscious continuously, but you feel the breath. No, you do not feel the breath. Instead, you feel the breath passage. Look at the sea. Waves are arising. You see the waves. Those waves are created by air. You do not see the wind, but you see the effect of the wind on the surface of the water. When you take breath in, it touches your nostrils. You feel the nostrils, but you never know the breath. It goes down. You feel the passage. It comes back, again you feel the passage. You never know the breath. You feel just the touch and the passage, the movement through the passage. This is not what Shiva says, be aware. Remember that the waves arise on the surface of the ocean. It is created, waves are created by the wind. You do not see the wind. You do not see the ocean. On the surface of the ocean, because of the wind, wind creates the waves and you see the waves. In the same way, the air, the breath touches the nostrils, you feel the touch. Then it begins to move withinwards, you feel the passage. Not the movement. Then it comes out, you again feel the passage and touch at the nostrils. This is not what Shiva is talking about, to be aware. First you become aware of the passage. The process goes in two ways. There is the passage and what is happening in the passage. First you become aware of the passage and then you completely become aware. And when you have completely become aware of the passage, then you will begin by and by to be aware of the breath itself. In the first instance, you will not become aware of the breath. And when you become aware of the breath, you will be capable of being aware of the gaps, the intervals. It is not so easy as it looks. Certainly it is not as easy as it looks. But this is what it is. This is for Tantra. For Tantra, for all seeking, there are layers of awareness. If I embrace you, first you become of my touch upon your body, but not love. My love is not so gross. And ordinarily we never become aware of love. We are aware of the body in movement. We know only the movement of the body. You know non-loving movements, but we never know love itself. If I kiss you, you become aware of the touch, but not of my love. That love is a very subtle thing. And unless you become aware of my love, the kiss will be a dead commodity. It means nothing. If you can become aware of my love, then only can you become aware of me, because that again is the deeper layer. Breath goes in, you feel the touch, but not the breath. You are not even aware of the touch. If something is wrong, only then you feel it. If you have some difficulty in breathing, then you feel it, otherwise you are not even aware of it. The first step is to be aware of the passage where breath is moving, where breath is felt to be touching. Then slowly and slowly your sensitivity grows deeper and deeper. It will take years before you become so sensitive that that not the touch but the movement of breath is known. In the beginning you will be aware of the touch. You will be aware of the touch and the passage. Then Tantra says, when you become your awareness shifts from the passage to the breath itself, then you have known prana or the vitality, the element vitae, the life force. And only then there will be a gap where breath stops, where breath is not moving, or the center where breath is touching, or the fusion points, or the turning where the breath, the ingoing breath becomes outgoing breath, it will become arduous. Then it will not be so simple. If you do something, if you go to this center, only then you will know how difficult it is to attain. Buddha took 6 years to come to this center beyond the breath, to come to this turning. He had a long, arduous journey of 6 years. Then it happened. Mahavir was working for almost 12 years. Then it happened. But the formula is simple, and theoretically it can happen this very moment. Theoretically, remember, I say, there is no barrier theoretically, so why should it not happen this very moment? You are the barrier. Except for you, this can happen this very moment. The treasure is there, the method is known to you, you can dig, but you will not dig. Only this much for this morning. Until tomorrow, take care and do have a pleasant day.